When can we truly watch the English Premier League without we having talking points, boiling points, things that get us upset as fans? When can we truly sit in the sofa of our home or go to the viewing center or go to the matches at the stadium, watch matches and come back and say, look, what have transpired in the English Premier League this weekend was super good, without we having things that describe as boiling points. You could recall that in 1886, when the International Football Association Board, known as IFAB, was created, the idea behind the creation of IFAB was because they needed to bring rules and regulations that will impact positively on the beautiful game of football. And one of the key things that they did it globally, is a universally accepted rules. But somehow we've also found out that the English Premier League have also decided to do things in their own way by bringing little nuggets of information that impacts on the way the football is being managed. How can you describe a situation where there is a penalty rule that is supposed to be taken to the letter, and just because they just need to do things their own way, they just allow people to get off the hook? Well, on this edition of Offside, I'm going to be looking at the key decision-making of the PGMOL and things they've done that have become inimical to the beautiful game of football. Because football is something that we're supposed to enjoy. It's supposed to be something that brings panache, beauty, excitement. Even though it serves as a unifier, but one of the key things that football does is that it brings excitement to us. But when some crop of people in the yellow, black uniform, or whatever you call them, but in the name of referee, chooses to do the otherwise, it kills our emotion. Destroy the trust we have, because they are the custodian of the game when the game is being played for 90 plus minutes, game after game, or competition after competition. Now, in 1886, the International Football Federation Board decided to create IFAB, and there are 2025-2026 rules. One of the key rules they have is the 12 rules for misconduct and fouls. And under that misconduct and fouls, the first one is a direct kick, or rather, you will say direct free kick, which says that direct free kick is awarded when a player commits any of the following against an opponent in a manner considered to be careless, reckless, or using excessive force. And under it, there are 15 factors. Few ones that I'm going to be listing are the ones that have caught my fancy. One of them is that when you push a player, the other one is that when you strike a player or attempt to strike a player, and the other one has to do with tackle and challenges, and also when you handle the ball in the box. The other one is when you impede an opponent with a contact. These are considered to be things that are described as foul according to the IFAB rule. But somehow in the English Premier League, it is not the same. The rules, they have changed it in a way that it will suit what they are doing against the beautiful game. Conspiracy theory have it that the English Premier League is like a gambling Premier League, that they determine the teams that wins the title every season. And when you look at the things that are happening, you can't help but to agree with this conspiracy theory. Because how do you describe a situation where Sanchez got the ball against Manchester United when Belmo was coming after him? There was a Chelsea defender by his side that was chasing Belmo, not far away. They were side by side. When Sanchez chose to come out, he got the ball and also impeded Belmo. But one thing I think that would have played the judgment at that point is the referee ought to have applied what I call common sense. In everything you do, yes, we are giving rules in the book, but you need to apply common sense that by the time you put your points across, even the layman on the street will say, yeah, you were really good at your decision making. So the common sense that I expected the referee to have applied in that game was looking at it in a prospective way and say, look, if I give a red card in this game as early as this, it's going to determine, or rather going to impact on the outcome of the game. So what you do is award a free kick and give a yellow card to the goalkeeper. Good. You chose to go by the rules by giving a red card, and the goalkeeper left. Now, fast track. Victor Gyökeres versus Nick Pope of Newcastle. Victor Gyökeres got the ball. He got the ball, and the last man in defense is Nick Pope. Nick Pope did not get the ball when he impeded Victor Gyökeres. The ball only hit him after impeding Victor Gyökeres. And the referee pointed for a penalty. The four guys in the VAR room could not reach a logical conclusion by agreeing with the man on the pitch. Rather, what they did was to ask him to go and look at the monitor and review his decision, which I feel is completely out of order. It is criminal, it is fraudulent, and completely out of order. Now, fast track, his decision making was that he had to rescind the decision of that penalty. That would have impacted on the game positively or negatively. But at the same time, if you say it wasn't a penalty, then you would have given Victor Gyökeres a yellow card for trying to buy a foul. You see what we're talking about? Now, fast track again, or backtrack rather. I recall when Arsenal played against Manchester City, we saw in the goal area of Manchester City, Gabriel Magalhaes being tugged by Haaland, chasing him all around. And by the time the ball was coming into the direction of Gabriel Magalhaes and he wanted to leap for that area duel, we saw Haaland hands, two hands behind him, shoving him from nothing. He couldn't. He lost it, and Haaland won that header. That should have been a penalty. Backtrack again. Arsenal versus Liverpool at Anfield. We saw a Szoboszlai moving his hand from a natural position, his upper arm, where the ball hit him inside the penalty area. The referee did not, the VAR did not even have a second look at it. We saw a Szoboszlai ball rolling on his arm. No second look. So what are we talking about? And yet, the EVAB rules is being contradicted here. Okay, let us also look at it. When United played against Brentford, we saw a Brentford player tugging a United Mbemo. That should have been a foul, not even a red card. You should have allowed that to go. But somehow, a red card was issued, a penalty was issued. So what are we talking about? The inconsistency of the PGMOL is killing the beautiful game. And it gives rise to the question of conspiracy theory that the Premier League is a gambling league, and that what they are doing, they determine the team that wins the Premier League, and the referees play to the script. I don't know, but it is when issues like this are coming up to the furrow time after time that you begin to think and have a second thought that I think there is a line of thought and it is possible. But I think this is the time that investigative journalists across the globe need to put their thinking cap into place. Let us start digging into how the FA are determining who is winning the Premier League. Because we've seen this inconsistency. It was also these inconsistencies that we've seen that have cost teams titles, especially Arsenal. We recall that Arsenal have lost the Premier League from winning position because of poor decision making on the pitch by the referees. But this is something that has to change. It is not an Arsenal thing. It is something that affects every other team in the Premier League. Let us get it right. If the PGMOL says they are right in what they are doing, then they need to be consistent. What is good for the goose is also good for the gander. We need to come to fruition, come to the table and do the right thing. If VAR are not confident enough to stand by a decision, why have the VAR? Why not we have an automated system and let the guys in the VAR just go and sleep? The same way we have computers that determine who is going to win the Premier League. But this implementation was just bringing. So let me know your view, your take, what you think should be done about correcting this malady in the English Premier League, because the PGMOL are truly taking the steam out of the beautiful game. We've spoken about this time and time again on Arsenal Fans Big channel. We've spoken about it on other channels too. But this is something that is killing this beautiful game. I don't know why it is always the EPL. Because these challenges are not as evident in other Premier Leagues and the La Liga, in League One and Eredivisie. But the Premier League is always having an issue. There is no match that you don't look at decision making. And the most annoying part of their decision making is when they realize that they've made a mistake, they now apologize. They apologize. My take here is, please, let us sanction the referees. Let us take their match allowances. Let us take that to the VAR and also make them to pay a penalty fee. Even though I feel, if you flip on the other side of the coin, that the people that are actually promulgating what they are doing, if it is true that there's, according to the conspiracy theory, that the FA are doing something that is inimical to the game, then it means that you're going to give them more time for them to have more money. But let us start making key decisions that at the end of the day, we'll have the opportunity to have sanity in this beautiful game week after week, month after month. Don't forget that it is the offside.